creating like really unique things.
Theatre, I'd definitely say the creative, divisive part, creating the stories, the characters, the concept of the idea and where it will take place.
Theatre making, I just enjoy it as a whole, kind of.
Ensemble, mess.
Performing and like the developing process, I suppose.
Funny mistakes.
Creating and performing.
Anything is possible. That's 3 words, sorry.
Just the fun of creating something and friends you make along the way.
Creativity and design.
Welcoming and artistic.
Messy and collaborative.
Bloody brilliant.
And why would you say that's your favourite part?
I think it's like the whole process.
Everyone gets to share their ideas in the developing process.
Performing just, it gives you this energy, which I personally don't find it anywhere else. And then socialising, like I wouldn't have thought I'd make so many friends at CTC because I used to get worried meeting people, but now it's improved my confidence, so I enjoy the socialising here.
Is the people. And my other favourite part about making theatre is the journey rather than what the final piece is.
I'm not too sure, it's just really fun, I think. It's a bit of everything, really.
It's because I allow to put my creative input into it, to show off my skills in creation and show that to people that I'm capable of doing the tasks that they can also do.
I love theatre because anything is possible, and that's only made possible because we work so collaboratively.
I think it's a really safe place to go big, go bold, and if you make a mistake, that's absolutely fine, and normally that means it's going really, really well because you're completely lost in it and you're having a great time.
And so, what's been your favourite part of working with CTC, well, so far?
Oh God, everything really, because everyone's so friendly, and they're really welcoming, and I can be myself.
I like the fact that you are able to make mistakes and you don't feel ashamed afterwards, and everyone supports one another, and I just think it's a great environment to be in.
The young people, they're the whole centre and core of the company, and they guide us in everything that we do. So whenever we have an idea, we bring it to our youth steering board, and usually it shoots off in 5 other directions and becomes something else.
Community, I suppose, and like I said earlier, the energy it just gives you makes me really happy.
I was welcomed in, you know, and it's just like a lot of fun doing stuff with them and plays and performing.
Oh, just an amazing group of people, really. A lot of variation, get an opportunity to do a lot of things. So I think from like backstage and camera work to just straight performing, it's a lot of variation, which is very nice.
Just being with everyone, just creating a good piece of work together, just having fun, just being creative.
Community, and you can do anything, you can show anything, and no one's going to judge you, and everyone's friends.
Just the funny moments that happen when you're making something, and the moment when it goes horribly wrong and you just do it anyway.
It's probably like the fact that everyone is always involved in everything. It is so inclusive and it's so lovely, and it's the best time of the week, really.
Like, everyone's just really nice. Like everyone said that, but I think the whole group of people, everyone's really lovely and really creative and energetic, and it's such a nice group of people to work with.
I think my favourite part is just how kind everybody is and accepting, and just how brave the young people are. How brilliant and wonderful and brave and bananas the young people are.
The people!
Anything else you want to share?
And then just, I love CTC.
Enjoy.
Jazz hands, there you go.
This is normal. This is normal?
And come on!
Their knitting needles are now swords or guns. Emergency vehicle passes in the distance. A raven croaks, sounds mocking.
Hi, I'm Kira.
My name is Ali.
John Ockenden.
Clarice.
Callum.
Maybe White.
Nika.
Jess.
Helena.
Abby.
Ben.
Jess, Eloise Secker.
Tristan.
How would you sum up your 2 favourite parts of theatre making?
I think it would be teamwork aspect is always really fun because working with an amazing group of people creating like really unique things.
Theatre mate, I definitely say the creative divisive part, creating the stories, the characters, the concept of the idea and where it will take place.
Theatre making, I just enjoy it as a whole, kind of.
Ensemble mess.
Performing and like the developing process, I suppose.
Funny mistakes.
Creating and performing.
Anything is possible. That's 3 words, sorry.
Just the fun of creating something and friends you make along the way.
Creativity and design?
Welcoming and artistic.
Messy and collaborative.
Bloody brilliant.
And why would you say that's your favourite part?
I think it's like the whole process.
Everyone gets to share their ideas in the developing process.
Performing just, it gives you this energy, which I personally don't find it anywhere else. And then socialising, like I wouldn't have thought I'd make so many friends at CTC because I used to get worried meeting people, but now it's improved my confidence, so I enjoy the socialising here.
Is the people. And my other favourite part about making theatre is the journey rather than what the final piece is.
I'm not too sure. It's just really fun, I think. It's a bit of everything, really.
It's because I allow to put my creative input into it to show off my skills in creation and show that to people that I'm capable of doing the tasks that they can also do.
I love theatre because anything is possible, and that's only made possible because we work so collaboratively.
I think it's a really safe place to go big, go bold, and if you make a mistake, that's absolutely fine. And normally that means it's going really, really well because you're completely lost in it and you're having a great time.
And so, what's been your favourite part of working with CTC, well, so far?
Oh God, everything really, because everyone's so friendly, and they're really welcoming, and I can be myself.
I like the fact that you are able to make mistakes and you don't feel ashamed afterwards, and everyone supports one another, and I just think it's a great environment to be in.
The young people, they're the whole centre and core of the company, and they guide us in everything that we do. So whenever we have an idea, we bring it to our youth steering board, and usually it shoots off in 5 other directions and becomes something else.
Community, I suppose, and like I said earlier, the energy it just gives you makes me really happy.
I was welcomed in, you know, and it's just like a lot of fun doing stuff with them and plays and performing.
Oh, just an amazing group of people, really. A lot of variation, get an opportunity to do a lot of things. So everything from like backstage and camera work to just straight performing. It's a lot of variation, which is very nice.
Just being with everyone, just creating a good piece of work together, just having fun, just being creative.
Community, and you can do anything, you can show anything, and no one's going to judge you, and everyone's friends.
Just the funny moments that happen when you're making something and the moment when it goes horribly wrong and you just do it anyway.
It's probably like the fact that everyone is always involved in everything. It is so inclusive and it's so lovely, and it's the best time of the week, really.
Everyone's just really nice. Everyone said that, but I think the whole group of people, everyone's really lovely and really creative and energetic, and it's such a nice group of people to work with.
I think my favourite part is just how kind everybody is and accepting, and just how brave the young people are.
How brilliant and wonderful and brave and bananas the young people are. The people!
Anything else you want to share?
And then just, I love CTC.
Enjoy.
Jazz hands. There you go.
This is normal. This is normal?
Come on! Their knitting needles are now swords or guns. Emergency vehicle passes in the distance. A raven croaks, sounds mocking.
Hi, I'm Kira.
My name is Ali.
John Ockenden.
Clarice.
Callum.
Maybe White.
Mika.
Jess. Helena.
Abby.
Ben.
Jess. Eloise Secker.
Tristan.
How would you sum up your two favourite parts of theatre making?
I think it would be teamwork aspect is always really fun because working with an amazing group of people creating like really unique things.
Theatre mate, I definitely say the creative, divisive part, creating the stories, the characters, the concept of the idea and where it will take place.
Theatre making. I just enjoy it as a whole, kind of.
Ensemble. Mess.
Performing and like the developing process, I suppose.
Funny mistakes.
Creating and performing.
Anything is possible.
That's 3 words, sorry.
Just the fun of creating something and friends you make along the way.
Creativity and design?
Welcoming and artistic.
Messy and collaborative.
Bloody brilliant.
And why would you say that's your favourite part?
I think it's like the whole process.
Everyone gets to share their ideas in the developing process.
Performing just, it gives you this energy, which I personally don't find it anywhere else. And then socialising, like I wouldn't have thought I'd make so many friends at CTC because I used to get worried meeting people, but now it's improved my confidence, so I enjoy the socialising here.
Is the people. And my other favourite part about making theatre is the journey rather than what the final piece is.
I'm not too sure. It's just really fun, I think. It's a bit of everything, really.
It's because I allow to put my creative input into it to show off my skills in creation and show that to people that I'm capable of doing the tasks that they can also do.
I love theatre because anything is possible, and that's only made possible because we work so collaboratively.
I think it's a really safe place to go big, go bold, and if you make a mistake, that's absolutely fine. And normally that means it's going really, really well because you're completely lost in it and you're having a great time.
And so, what's been your favourite part of working with CTC, well, so far?
Oh God, everything really, because everyone's so friendly, and they're really welcoming, and I can be myself.
I like the fact that you are able to make mistakes and you don't feel ashamed afterwards, and everyone supports one another, and I just think it's a great environment to be in.
The young people, they're the whole centre and core of the company, and they guide us in everything that we do. So whenever we have an idea, we bring it to our youth steering board, and usually it shoots off in 5 other directions and becomes something else.
Community, I suppose, and like I said earlier, the energy it just gives you makes me really happy.
I was welcomed in, you know, and it's just like a lot of fun doing stuff with them and plays and performing.
Oh, just an amazing group of people, really. A lot of variation, get an opportunity to do a lot of things. So everything from like backstage and camera work to just straight performing. It's a lot of variation, which is very nice.
Just being with everyone, just creating a good piece of work together, just having fun, just being creative.
Community, and you can do anything, you can show anything, and no one's going to judge you, and everyone's friends.
Just the funny moments that happen when you're making something and the moment when it goes horribly wrong and you just do it anyway.
It's probably like the fact that everyone is always involved in everything. It is so inclusive and it's so lovely, and it's the best time of the week, really.
Everyone's just really nice. Everyone said that, but I think the whole group of people, everyone's really lovely and really creative and energetic, and it's such a nice group of people to work with.
I think my favourite part is just how kind everybody is and accepting, and just how brave the young people are.
How brilliant and wonderful and brave and bananas the young people are. The people!
Anything else you want to share?
And then just, I love CTC.
Enjoy.
Jazz hands. There you go.
This is normal. This is normal?
Their knitting needles are now swords or guns. Emergency vehicle passes in the distance. A raven croaks, sounds mocking.
Hi, I'm Kira.
My name is Ali.
John Ockenden.
Clarice.
Callum.
Maybe White.
Nika.
Jess. Lena.
Abby.
Ben?
Jess. Eloise Secker.
Tristan.
How would you sum up your two favourite parts of theatre making?
I think it would be teamwork aspect is always really fun because working with an amazing group of people creating like really unique things.
Theatre mate, I definitely say the creative, divisive part, creating the stories, the characters, the concept of the idea and where it will take place.
Theatre making. I just enjoy it as a whole, kind of.
Ensemble. Mess.
Performing and like the developing process, I suppose.
Funny mistakes.
Creating and performing.
Anything is possible. That's 3 words. Sorry.
Just the fun of creating something and friends you make along the way.
Creativity and design?
Welcoming and artistic.
Messy and collaborative.
Bloody brilliant.
And why would you say that's your favourite part?
I think it's like the whole process.
Everyone gets to share their ideas in the developing process.
Performing just, it gives you this energy, which I personally don't find it anywhere else. And then socialising, like I wouldn't have thought I'd make so many friends at CTC because I used to get worried meeting people, but now it's improved my confidence, so I enjoy the socialising here.
Is the people. And my other favourite part about making theatre is the journey rather than what the final piece is.
I'm not too sure. It's just really fun, I think. It's a bit of everything, really.
It's because I allow to put my creative input into it to show off my skills in creation and show that to people that I'm capable of doing the tasks that they can also do.
I love theatre because anything is possible, and that's only made possible because we work so collaboratively.
I think it's a really safe place to go big, go bold, and if you make a mistake, that's absolutely fine, and normally that means it's going really, really well because you're completely lost in it.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hello. Thank you very much for joining us. My name's Tristan.
My name's Diana.
Of course, we have loud enough voices to fill this room, but we are microphone because we are streaming live as well. So hello to everyone at home who has attended our symposium and anyone watching it in days to come. Thank you very much for being with us as we tell you more about our Tell Your Story Festival project. So we are Cherwell Theatre Company. We've been based here in Banbury since 2004, and this festival was a huge landmark project for us. Hello, come on in, take a seat. You're very welcome. Partly because it involved so much outreach work with schools and community groups, and partly because as we planned it in 2019, COVID happened during it, and we figured out a whole load of new ways to engage with our community and were very adaptive, as were our young people, in responding to them and creating a really unique event. So tonight we're going to tell you the story of the Tell Your Story Festival. We're going to have some of our young people share some work and feedback on being involved in the project. We're going to see some of the recorded media and hear from some of our partners as well. And Abby and Diana are brilliant people to have with us because they were here for the whole of the project. They worked in schools, they worked with our core youth theatre and young company groups, they worked in community settings, so they were on the front line with me. Yeah. So, let's give a quick description of the project. The Tell Your Story Festival, as I say, was instigated and developed in winter 2019. And really, we're responding to a number of things that we saw as gaps in our community and for our young people. We read a study that said that over a 5-year period between 2014 and 2019, the numbers of students nationally taking arts-based subjects, that's the performing arts, drama, music, media, film, had gone down from 1 in 8 to 1 in 12. And this is a trend we've seen over the last decade and only seems to be getting worse. And really, we created this festival in response to that to make sure, hello, come and join us. Hi, Sophie. To provide that access and to kind of raise aspirations beyond the curriculum and give young people a massive broad introduction to a whole wide variety of artistic disciplines, which we'll tell you a bit more about in a moment. I'm just going to quickly talk you through some of the stages which are here behind me of the project. It's been quite a hefty one. As we've prepared for this event, we've realised just how much went on and how much we had to adapt and change as we went. So, stage one became online platform development. At the start of the pandemic, we had to react really quickly. We chose not to furlough our staff because we wanted to keep being able to connect with the young people we work with. And also, as a small charity, had we done that, we probably wouldn't still be here and able to work with you. And actually, we're rare as one of those organisations, I think, to have increased engagement throughout this time and to have really, we're quite exhausted, but to have been able to be there and provide excellent new opportunities with a range of new partners. So the first stage of that was to work with young people to develop a new online platform over Zoom. We'll tell you a bit more about that in a moment, but none of us had ever done online workshops before. That's young people and the facilitators in the group. Hello, come on in and join us. Grab a seat, you're absolutely fine.
There's plenty up there.
The next stage of the project then was artist interviews, where we met over 30 artists and our young people were involved on the interview panel, and we decided who we wanted to work with on the festival. We then took it forward into initial creative workshops from November to April. So we actually were able to secure some extra funding from Oxfordshire Community Foundation, who we're very grateful to, also big funders of this project, to deliver more creative workshops online to our youth groups and to schools and other community partners throughout the pandemic. And it was actually enabled us to offer way more for our core cohort in our youth theatre and young company and provide them with some really creative workshops in poetry, stop motion animation, various different disciplines for them to start working early and think about the sort of artworks they wanted to devise throughout the festival. Hello, welcome. The next stage of the project was our 5 Plays in 5 Days challenge, which many of you in the audience took part in. It was brilliant. We'll tell you more about that. But it helped to generate a lot of material that then went forward into the first week of the festival. The festival week was the 12th to the 17th of April. During that time, it was literally from the very first day you could get back into space with people with masks and social distancing. We developed a lot of the work that had started online into a live stream event, which we held here with our friends at the Mill Arts Centre, who hosted us, and Dan and Ben, who are at the top there, who produced the live stream, and Ben production managed the whole project. We were then, between April and May, able to finally deliver those community workshops and the workshops with our schools partners, which was such a joy. Honestly, the children were like jumping beans. They were so excited to do a range of things, and we brought them some amazing artists into their schools. And then we had our second festival week. The week was actually, we were supposed to be 2 weeks in a row, but actually, as we'll explain as we go through, we found delivering it over 2 separate weeks had a lot of advantages in terms of the work that was developed and the experience of the young people. So our second festival week culminated in the live Tell Your Story Festival, which we did in an exciting location. And I think that is the timeline of the project.
So this project was made possible due to the generous support from the Ragdoll Foundation, Oxfordshire Community Foundation, Cherwell District Council, Hobson Charity, Castle Key Shopping Centre and Wild Property. So thank you very much.
And over the course of the project, we work with a number of schools and community organisations, including CTC's Core Youth Theatre and Young Company, many of whom are here today. Banbury College, Dashwood Primary School, Hillview School, Hill Community Centre in participation with Banbury Young Homelessness Project, Let's Play Project and Banbury Moss. And in total, over 450 young people engaged with the festival, either as direct participants or as audience members, either online or in person.
Throughout this project, we worked with 28 different artists from 15 different disciplines who delivered 28 different creative workshops, from stop motion animation to stand-up comedy to music composition to devising theatre.
You've got the full range behind you there. Far and away the most epic programme we've ever produced in terms of just the diversity of the artists that we were able to bring in. It was really inspiring to us, I think, as well as all the young people that took part. So we're going to talk a bit now about the online portion. So, of course, when we designed this festival, we didn't foresee a global pandemic, and in April 2020, who could have? In April 2020, we chose not to follow our staff and to plough on. And a big part of that, and the way we always work at CTC, is to involve our young people in the decision-making process and the development process. So over 3 weeks, we brought 6 facilitators together to explore a lot of different drama, music, workshops, and we were actually able to then share a lot of that learning with other organisations. We brought together an online response group which involved different venues and theatre companies across Oxfordshire, and we met regularly to discuss what we were doing. We also did Skillshare sessions, not just for arts providers, for a lot of youth providers in the town, where we were able to take them through games that you could play over Zoom and activities you could do so young people could kind of reflect and feel connected to each other. And I think Diana's going to tell us a bit about the online R&D.
Yeah, so in April, May 2020, CTC brought together 6 professional theatre facilitators. I was one of those, and we did a period of research and development to see if we could, firstly, and how we could move our practice online safely. So we workshop creative ideas between ourselves. And initially, over a period of 3 weeks, we had varying degrees of success of that between us. Then we moved on to developing those ideas further with our young people. My personal concern, and I think a lot of my peers and colleagues, was whether it was safe to ask a bunch of young people to come online every week and practice online. My concern was that it wasn't safe. But once we went online with the young people in this research and development period, and we saw the connection that they had after weeks at this point of being locked down. For me, and I think for a lot of my colleagues, we saw that the rewards would far outweigh the risks of that. So as Tristan said, we got together with other groups, so further meetings with groups like the Oxford Theatre Makers, Oxfordshire Youth, and we worked out how we could do that technically as safely as possible to give these young people the connection that they were missing. So this led to one of our time capsule VTs, which I think we've got now, haven't we?
Yeah, so we're going to see a short film created off the back of this research and development project. Oh my goodness, our young people have been so productive throughout the pandemic, you wouldn't believe. They made radio plays for BBC Oxford, adverts for Jack FM, they made short films, they created scripts, all kinds of things. And each week in Lockdown 1, we set them a created task, which it was optional to respond to, but we found so many people did and created amazing work. So Ella, who is here tonight, this will take you right back to June 2020. We set a task to create a short film taking 3 objects which explain, like a time capsule, what life was like in June 2020. And this piece was so fantastic, we'd like to share it with you now.
Hello and welcome to my time capsule. In this project, I'm going to talk about the 3 objects that I associate with June 2020. So this is a beautiful feather that I actually found on a walk recently, and it has really come to remind me of freedom and letting go of bad things in the past and taking flight, which has been really important to me this year, especially this month. This is an old eyeshadow palette which I only started properly using recently. For pretty much all my life, makeup has been an important part of my self-expression. I've always liked it, even when I wasn't very good at it. It's a weird time, I guess, which makes me want to change in some capacity, and makeup's something I'm always striving to improve at while simply having fun with it. I've been changing a lot as a person recently, and I want my appearance to match that. So this is a hagstone, which is a rock with a hole in it, basically. They are said to be powerful and allow the owner to see beyond the physical realm, which is relevant because politically and socially, the world is a mess, and it is crucial that we are open-minded and willing to see things that make us uncomfortable. Basically, this is a tough year, but it is also a turning point. Do the things you love, take care of yourself, and be vigilant and willing to fight for others.
Wow, felt quite emotional watching that. I don't know about any of you, but just an example of one of many amazing pieces of reflective work. And I think we were really able to be there for each other during that lockdown. I know that all the facilitators and artists we worked with at that time all said they'd got so much of being able to connect with young people, even if it was over a screen. So thank you, Ella, and edited by Megan, I saw, Megan as well, for making that lovely piece of work. So the next stage then of our festival was to interview some artists. We put out a call for diverse artists of all disciplines. We got 65 submissions. With some young people, our youth steering board, we shortlisted 32 to interview, and then over 5 sessions, over 5 weeks, we interviewed them all. And this is a really interesting part of the online practice, I think, which we've taken forward with us, which is that we hold interviews and auditions and meetings with new practitioners and artists over Zoom, and it makes it more accessible and affordable for them. It also makes it easier for our young people to take part in and be part of that decision-making process. And I know some of the people were at every single interview session. And just so excited to meet these new people, ask them questions, try out a sample 5-minute workshop taster with them, and then for them to be able to ask questions of us, and for our young people who are the core of CTC to be able to tell them what CTC is about and what this project is. So with other projects, we've taken that kind of Zoom model forward, and every time it's made it more accessible for everyone to take part in. So we eventually selected 22 artists to work with, alongside a team of 6 core facilitators, which included these 2, and Eloise and Jess Lloyd-Jones as well. And we're ready to go forward to the next stage.
Yeah, so a continuation of this online work led to the 5 Plays in 5 Days challenge. So 11 writers signed up to be part of this week, and Tristan gave participants a new playwriting prompt each day and a deadline of 24 hours to get their scripts in by. My favourite prompt had to be write an unstageable play, and you may have seen it as you were entering. There was a very loud, what was the line, John? Amazing. That was one of the unstageable plays that we actually fondly named Reptile Babies. The results were brilliant, and we proved it wrong. We could stage it in the end.
Brilliant. It was a brilliant challenge then. Actually, one family said, thank you very much for this challenge. My whole family has done it, which has been really great. So people have been able to... we also had a couple of professional playwrights do it who were just looking for something to do. So it was a really wonderful, really simple thing to be able to offer that generated a huge amount of material for the following week.
Yeah, it's great. And as the prospect of face-to-face workshops kept getting further and further away, we were lucky to receive some more funding to provide support to young people either via one-to-one sessions or with online workshops. So we worked with the artists that we'd already engaged to provide workshops and stimulation for the young people at a time when there was very little stimulation anywhere else. A quote from one participant read, "Present life has no variation. These workshops provided a nice break from the normal routine. Wake up, do schoolwork, go to bed." And lots of these sessions led to pieces that were presented in both weeks of the festival, including a poem that was written by Clarice called "We Built This Place from Broken Things," which I believe we're going to see now.
We built this place together. We created a refuge for those without one. We made a kingdom forged from lost battles and hopeless dreams. Those who were broken, wounded, suffering came to us. We fixed them, put them back together. They saw us as their saviours, their guardian angels. It affected us more than we thought. We fixed each other too, in spare moments. Word spread, more and more came to us. We soon had no moments to spare. We both started slowly falling apart. As more and more came, as we fixed more and more people, as we were traumatized more and more, everything happened more and more and more, and you cracked. We knew it was only a matter of time before one of us did. I always thought it would be me, but that didn't happen. You cracked, split apart, and I was left to pick up the pieces. You made it impossible for me to crack like you did. You made me stuck in an endless loop. Not that you meant to. If I had cracked first, you'd be stuck too. I can't split apart like you did. My skin is now made of metal, can't be broken. I still put them back together, still do exactly what we once did together. The only difference is that I don't have anyone to put me back together anymore. But that's okay. This is now my home. After all, we built this place for broken things.
It's another beautiful piece of work which came from an online workshop with a poet called Sam Barkson, and then evolved during our first festival week. Worked with a movement director to bring it to life as a company, and then was staged at our live stream event. So beautiful. It's me next.
We'll move on to aims of the project.
Yeah. So at this point, we should tell you what the aim of all this was, right? And we're going to discuss them in a bit more detail. But just to give you a sense of what we were evaluating and what we were looking to achieve during the project before we first came together in a physical space to work on it, they're behind us right now. So in all our projects, we look for increased well-being. It's really central to our programme. It's all about, and a lot of our members credit coming to CTC with making them feel better. We're also looking to improve people's confidence, and there's so many ways you can do that in arts-based projects, especially in something so multidisciplinary as this. And we'll hear from some of our young people as to whether we achieve that or not very soon. We look for team working skills. During a pandemic, when we're all isolated, we do as much as we can on Zoom, but there's nothing like coming together to make work as a team. And especially in this project, young people wearing so many different hats: performers, directors, writers, composers, the list goes on. So having a strong voice in your community, this is really important to us at CTC. The ideas of the young people are at the centre of everything we do, and even if I have an idea, I take it to them and it often shoots off in many different directions. It's a beautiful, wonderful thing. So this project, which was all about professionals facilitating the work of young people, so everything that you're seeing tonight is stuff that they were supported to create, that they created, is just really central to the mission and what we want to do. So having a strong voice in your community is really important to us. Of course, we were looking for increased arts and literary knowledge in all the settings that we worked. Just having the opportunity to experience a load of different tasters, and I think we've done that more than anything on this project. I tried a lot of stuff I'd never tried before. I'm sure you guys agree.
Yeah. Stand up.
Exactly. So making new friends. Really key, but this happened on this project. Some people joined us just for the festival. Some people met us for the first time online. Some people have been with us for years, but found new friendships within the company, and that's always a really important part of our work. Abby's my new friend for this project.
Thanks.
I knew you already done. Discovering new areas of Banbury. So as we envisaged this in 2019, we had a mini Edinburgh Festival in the middle of Banbury in our minds. Obviously that changed and evolved. So that's one of the aims we don't feel we've met as strongly as we could have done, but we did our best in the middle of a pandemic. But our work is always about kind of claiming ownership of different places in the town, and that's why we've got this nomadic approach. It's rare to see us in a theatre. We're in marketplaces, or we're on fields, or we're in a nuclear bunker, or a pancake house. So discovering new places is key to the mission too. And then finally, increased awareness of the value of the arts for educators and community partners. We work with a lot of people for the first time in this project, and our mission is always to go, look at what this amazing creativity can do to develop you and your young people in your organisation. And I think we achieved that too. So those were our project aims. Just keep those in mind as we talk about the next stages.
So we finally get to our first week of in-person activity. So the first week of the festival was greatly anticipated by everybody, I think. And so after months of being in lockdown, we could finally be in a room together. And I think it was the 12th of April, so it was the very first time that anyone could be in a room with anybody else. And so we all shared that together on that first day. So it was a bit of navigating, what does everyone feel comfortable with? But we soon got into it, and it was, I think by the afternoon on the Monday, we were all well into the flow. Each day began with a workshop from a guest artist designed to kickstart ideas and collaborations within the group. This collaborative way of working, for me, is unlike any other creative space that I've been in. There wasn't a lead artist or facilitator. It was truly such an organic way of working. And this is what I think makes CTC's work stand out from other young companies making work. One of our incredible collaborations to emerge over week 1 was one between Mika, Jess and Clarice, where between the three of them, they directed, wrote, performed in a piece called In Denial. I'm thrilled to introduce Jess and Clarice to the stage to share an extract of In Denial.
Give them a warm hand.
Do we have any blueberries? Because I can't see any.
Dunno.
Oh, here they are. Here the weather's a bit rubbish today. Meant to be 6 degrees with 90% chance of rain.
Great.
Also, sorry about yesterday. I completely overreacted. I blame the hormones. I feel like I barely know what's going on with you nowadays. We don't talk anymore like we used to. I guess I just kind of miss you, I guess. And the boyfriend accusation came completely out of nowhere. Like, I don't know what I was saying.
Okay.
Luce!
What?
I'm trying to say sorry and explain, and you're just ignoring me.
What do you want me to say? There's nothing to say, except the fact that you've been acting so weird lately, like a paranoid mother.
I've only been reacting to the situation that you're causing. Having weird friends over all the time. Making it seem like whenever you're with me, you'd rather be doing anything else. Making me uncomfortable in my stomach. Making me think about you all the time. Making me lose sleep over thinking about you. I just don't know why you're acting like this. Why have you changed all of a sudden? I mean, I practically just forced you to have pizza with me last night, and here I was thinking maybe you stop acting weird, but no. You start insisting that you like the garlic and herb dip, that you quote-unquote always liked it, which I know isn't true, and I can't stop thinking
Shut
about you.
up! Just stop talking! God, you make me feel so suffocated, it's hard to breathe. And don't call my friends weird. We're young, for God's sake. Live a little. And so what if I've changed a bit in your eyes? People change!
But you weren't meant to!
Crap. God's sake, Tam, why didn't you tell me? Look, I'm sorry, okay? I don't, I'm not... Look, you're right, okay? I do have a...
Right.
I'm so sorry, I forgot Phoebe was in it as well. So Mika is unfortunately not here tonight because she's poorly, but she might be watching. But Mika actually directed that piece, In Denial. Jess, would you like to tell us about the process of writing it and then seeing it come to life?
Hello. Yes. Well, originally it was an idea that I had, which spun from an exercise on Zoom, where it was just a random argument between two characters about garlic and herb dip. But then in the 5 plays in 5 days challenge, it got to the 3rd day and it was 10 p.m. I hadn't written anything, so I thought, I've got to write something, and alas, In Denial was born, and I was trying not to cry over my own handiwork, so that was interesting. But yeah, it was very surreal seeing it come alive, I have to say, but I wouldn't have been able to do it without Mika and Reese, because they're both incredibly talented, so thank you very much.
And then, Jess, I'm not going to let you go. So also, then, wasn't there a kind of a sequel to In Denial that happened in the 2nd week?
Well, yeah. Mika asked if she could write a monologue from a perspective of a character who didn't currently exist, but who now exists and is called Nikki. And that was really that was honestly amazing. It was so raw. And because it was from the perspective of one of Lucy's friends who had clearly like experienced feelings towards another girl, and Lucy was just being so insensitive about it. And so that was really nice to be a part of as well, and I was very honoured that she wanted to write something based off of it. So yes.
Thank you, Jess. And that's just one example of kind of how the little sparks of magic and the collaborations happened over the 2 weeks of the festival. So thanks, Jess.
Of course, for Jess and her team. Just extraordinary. There are several people who took part in this project who have confidence in just so many artistic disciplines that I am envious of. They will just try anything and create. And I think I was saying the other day, actually, we just done another community project, big tour of North Oxfordshire, and just my favourite bit of CTC right now is hearing little conversations at lunchtime where you hear that 2 other people are writing a play, or this person's got a film, and this person's doing that. I've never known a time in my 6 years at CTC where there's been so much independent work going on at a time when, let's be honest, adults, we've all felt less motivated, right, to get work done. Our young people are leading the way and being so productive and creative. It's genuinely inspiring and amazing. I just wanted to add a quote from Mika if she is watching. I remember after the first festival event, we did a midpoint evaluation session, and we were kind of like, what have you tried that's new, or what have you learned? And she said brilliantly, I always thought I was just bossy, but now I know I'm a great director, which is so true, and everybody completely agreed. And I know you did a lot of work with her on her directing practices as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it started with In Denial, actually, and then I just watched. I didn't really do anything. Mika just led. And I think everyone really enjoyed taking her direction. So, yeah, it was great.
Beautiful. Okay, so a little surprise image just flashed up a while ago. Did anyone see that?
Oh.
It was of a place just across the road. Here it is. Around about this time, so before our live stream event, which we did from here, obviously we spent that face-to-face week together. And as part of that week, as well as 1,000,001 workshops and several creative projects, actually we presented 90 minutes of material at that live stream. I think at the start of the week I said, let's keep it low pressure. If we get 20 minutes, that would be great. And we were overflowing with ideas. But we also had a workshop with the designer, Paul Batten, and Ben, our production manager, where we asked our young people to imagine their dream festival space. And we got them to do floor plans and illustrations and explore what might be in it. And several of their ideas made its way into the festival design. But of course, we were scratching our heads and thinking, right, where can we perform? We need somewhere big that people can socially distance in. We need somewhere with good ventilation, but we also want it to be covered in case it rains, because we're there for one day and it's a lot of electrical equipment. Where could it possibly be? This is where our partners at Cherwell District Council and Neil Wilde at Wild Property, who was incredibly helpful and gave loads of his time, and the brilliant people at Castle Key and Oliver Wren over there really stepped in and made the extraordinary happen. Lidl across the road. It's just opened to great fanfare in Banbury. But back in June, it was almost complete car park space with an unopened supermarket above it. And we were able to do some site visits just after that week and go and have a look and think about how we might take these ideas and turn them into an event in a car park. I said a bit earlier about some of the strange places we've performed, and we think it really makes, as well as us being able to reach people who wouldn't necessarily come to a theatre in terms of an audience, it makes our projects really memorable for our young people and something they'll never forget. And I think anytime anyone goes to that Lidl, it's now become this little, I don't know if you guys know, but there was a festival here kind of moment. I haven't actually been to it yet. I think it's going to be interesting when I go there as a punter. But this was the venue we selected, and we'll show you how it looked very shortly.
So by April 2021, after many months of waiting, we were finally able to deliver our outreach workshops with schools and community centres.
One of these community partners was the Banbury Mosque. So we ran sessions for young people in a gym, which were received really well. And these sessions were made up of music sessions, movement sessions, and puppetry sessions. And this ended up leading to a 10-week project with a girls group, led by myself and then artist Tom Cross. We spent 10 weeks with these girls, building confidence and writing a script, and then also making props and costume pieces. And eventually, on the last session date, they recorded the script that they'd been working on and performed it. And then there was one participant who said she was living out her dream and she was desperate to share her work with her school teacher. Another community partner was the Hill Centre. We spent 6 weeks delivering workshops there in vegetable puppetry making. It sounds as bonkers as it was as bonkers as it sounds. Animation and illustration, and then also some poetry and drama. And so the 6 weeks ended with writing a collaborative poem with the participants, which was then recorded, and the audio was played as part of the second festival week. And then the core members of CTC created some movement around that, and it was performed on the main stage. So it was a really lovely way to bring that community group into the festival day itself.
Looks great. I had the pleasure of going over to the Let's Play project, who are a centre and after-school provision for young people with any additional needs. Our aim for the project was to create a film based on the brief Tell Your Story. So having worked with Let's Play before, I knew that these young people would be fine if we asked them to take ownership of the project with a little bit of creative support from me and a videographer, Jonathan Ruffle from Fresh FX in Banbury, capturing everything to make a film at the end of the project. So they decided, the young people, that they wanted to make a piece about lockdown, but also they wanted to time travel to the 2012 London Olympics to warn the world about COVID. So I said to them, you can't put that in if you can't justify it. I don't know where that comes in. I don't know why that's relevant. And one young person said to me quite simply, it's a place where the world come together without conflict, and these are some of the highest achievers in the world, and they can save us. And I was put in my place, and we went ahead with that. So as always with CTC, it was process over product. I mean, if the piece was going to be 1 minute, if it was going to be a small sharing, if it was going to be 20 minutes, it didn't matter, but the process was beautiful. And we're going to show you the film now, but this is just the tip of the iceberg.
What's going on? Why are they shut?
Sorry, Let's Play's closed. Lockdown.
That was pointless. Time to go home again.
From this evening, I must give the British people a very simple instruction. You must stay at home to stop the disease spreading between households.
Everyone, we're at the 2012 London Olympics and all of the best Olympians will be there. And our mission is to warn them that there's going to be a global pandemic in 8 years. You have 10 minutes. This will be so exciting. Let's go.
Let's do this.
Can I do something? Because you've been in lockdown. I don't know about it. I'm in November. 10, 6, 6. I can use something that I will have after.
Hey, using gold. This might not make much sense right now, but I think you should make a charity where people sprint to help prevent future pandemics. It would be great for people to engage in a skill and help prevent future pandemics. Last one to a finish line smells.
Annie, you won't be swimming soon. And the whole world going to be locked down because of virus. The swimming pool going to be shut. You want a better acting in the world. You got to sap it.
I know you only do boxing and not an elite sport like taekwondo, but still, you can win championships. You can be intimidating. You can save the world. And that's what we want. No. That's what we need from you. You have 8 years to stop the pandemic. Come on. Also, what I said about boxing. Please don't punch me.
I'm from the future. There's going to be a pandemic in the next 8 years. Tell your friends, spread the word, and not the germs.
Yeah! Let's go! Hopefully we've changed the future.
Maybe, just maybe, we've helped protect the world.
Well done, team. We smashed this.
Let's get back to Let's Play.
School.
Great.
Maybe for you.
Beautiful work led by Diana there, and Abby too. So just to say a couple of words about the schools we work with Dashwood School and Hillview Primary in Banbury. Fantastic, brilliant partners we've since worked with many other times and have many plans to do so again. With the schools, we put together this brilliant video. This is about 20 minutes long of all the artists they could work with, sent it to the teachers, and they watched it with their children and chose the people they wanted to come in. So we're able to provide a real range of workshops, shadow puppetry, animation, all kinds of things for them to do. And the schools also chose to theme it around different themes. So we looked at transition with the Year 5 children going into Year 6 in Dashwood School, which was a really useful, reflective theme, explored a whole lot of life events with them. And then we looked at the plague, which was an interesting topic to look at in a mask in the middle of a pandemic with Hillview School, which Abby did with me. And again, the kids were just raring to go and so excited. A kid at the end of one of the sessions at Hillview said, "This was the best day of my life." I know, really amazing. They've got much more life to live, but it was a great day. Yeah, hasn't peaked for sure. So those were really rewarding, brilliant workshops, and we're currently in the middle of a program with Hillview School. Actually, we're delivering some CPD training with them, which we'll tell you a bit more about in a moment. So that was a really nice thing to come out of it. And 3 classes of children also completed Arts Award qualifications alongside the project, which is really fantastic. For those of you that don't know, Arts Award, they then are transferable and become UCAS points in the future. So a really positive thing for the schools to build in that's also good for their literacy and things alongside these creative workshops.
Yeah, it's great. So finally, in May, we came together for the second week of the festival, a few months after it was planned. We worked with a core group of facilitators. Abby and I were involved in that. There was guest practitioners. There was Ben, the production manager, Paul, the designer, and Adrian, a sound designer, who was collaborating with the young people all week, and they were giving him lots of requests for the sound that they needed for their festival. The first workshop from a guest practitioner was in stand-up comedy. Now, most of the people in that room had never tried any stand-up before, but the young people, as always, took the opportunity and ran with it. The pieces were developed with a performance poet called Aoife Mannix, and she looked at physicality. So they worked on them a very small amount, and then by the Saturday, 7 people ended up performing brilliantly on the festival evening. Amelia was one of those people. Mm-hmm. We would be terrified to have a go at stand-up comedy, let alone do it at a festival in front of an audience. But Amelia's not terrified, and like the rest of her peers, is incredibly brave and would like to share a bit, am I right, with you now? So can we give her a massive round of applause?
Got the backup. If I can open it. I'm a person that always ponders on many interesting things. Well, interesting to me at least. Things like shower comebacks after an argument. When you think of something you should have said and you just kick yourself over it. Or random scenarios you think would happen, like being a billionaire, but never actually would. One of these sorts, however, bugs me the most. It claws at my brain throughout the day. So, we all know what a group chat is, right? Yeah. Yay! Glad to know we're not past that age boundary. Are you ready? Yeah. What happens to a group chat when we die? Pause. Just gonna let that sit with you for a second, so we're gonna pause again. Okay, cool. Does it just sit there in eternal silence, patiently waiting for us to text them and hear the gossip about that one person that nobody actually ever liked? Or does it have emotions and just get angry because we've abandoned it and it's just there? Do new people get the number? And if so, does the group chat overhear Jeff from Human Resources complaining about how petrol prices have gone up by 5p? Or Karen from down the road complaining because her printer's not working anymore? And well, she asked to use yours, but you know you don't even have a choice. Is the group chat just erased? Like it never existed? I don't know, you tell me. You see, these are the kind of things that just keep me up at night. Well, that and the fear that a spider's going to crawl into my mouth. But that's besides the point. But I'm just honestly not sure if I can do this anymore. I entrap myself in these endless loops of just questions after questions that I'm never going to get the answer to. Self-torture. I can't keep doing it to myself because I just can't do this anymore.
Wow, thank you, Amelia. I think the stand-up was my highlight of the whole festival event, just because we did it on the Monday, right? And loads of and then on the Saturday, we did some of them up to like 10 minutes of stand-up. I just was floored by it.
And Amelia actually was only there for the Monday and then rocked up on the Saturday and was like, yeah, I'll do some stand-up. Amazing.
You're a braver woman than me, Amelia.
Yeah.
For sure. Stunning.
Amazing. So one of the other guest artists to join us in the second week was filmmaker Andy Rees. So he came fairly on in the second week, and we were kind of talking to the group and asking them what their ideas were for making films, and the list was quite short, and we were getting a bit worried that we wouldn't have any material or anything for Andy to do. But then by the end of it, we had so much film. And participants ended up turning some of the plays into screenplays, and then some of the stuff just came up from devising and improvising scenes as well. Andy was absolutely fantastic. He directed everybody really well. He really understood what the young people were after and what they were trying to capture on screen. And we're about to see something now. So this is a behind-the-scenes improvisation devised piece, which kind of came up in the first week between Callum and Toby, and then was developed even further with Panda, Toby and John. This, I think, really gives you a taste of the madness that I think everybody was feeling in that second week. So I hope you enjoy.
Yeah.
Right, we have a festival to prepare for. What do we have? Do we have Cassie the stage manager? Work leave? I don't remember giving that idiot work leave.
Yeah.
What do I pay him for?
The work leave?
No work leave, but what have I given him work leave for? Why are they on work leave?
You fired them.
Unfire them? What about makeup person?
Oh, they're indisposed.
Indisposed?
They glued their lips together by accident.
Well, you tell them to come in, or I'll super glue them to a chair and make them do their job. Do we even have a logo?
Yes, sir, we do.
You're going to love it, sir.
I'm sure I will.
Oh, we work on it for a while. But is that right?
Are you serious? Where's the designer?
Here.
Fired! Enter.
I got them.
Got what?
The umbrellas.
That's not an umbrella.
Yes, it is.
Give it here then. I don't think this is going to protect anyone from the Great British weather. I mean, do you see how low to the ground this is? I mean, you're not going to fit Papa Smurf under here, let alone a bloody human being.
I like.
Well, you're fired. What do you want?
Sir?
Give me a minute. No, we do not have the money for Metallica to perform.
Sir?
What? What the hell is this? What do you want, you inconsolable soul? Yes, and where do you expect us to find a Jaguar for the event? Yes, it's a free country, but it's not a free event, is it? Oh, what's this bill for?
A bull.
What?
A bull.
Who ordered a bloody bull? No, I have not been in a car accident recently. Now, good day, sir. This better be good news.
I haven't seen that in a while. I'd totally forgotten it.
I know. That's say you're putting on a young people's festival without saying you're putting on a young people's festival, if ever I saw one. So part of the joy of this entire project has been trusting the process and believing that something amazing would emerge, which brings me on to The Curse of Captain Crow, written by John Ockenden, but really kind of it's such a collaborative effort because everyone is so invested in this script. So the first scenes were written in the first week, and then some of them were performed as part of the live stream in that first week. Everybody loved it so much that John developed it even further, and people were so committed that they even spent their lunchtimes creating a sea shanty, and then they came up with a petition that they got all of the facilitators and everybody kind of in the building to sign, handed it to Tristan and said, we must put this on in full. Tristan, of course, listened to the young people and said, yes, we will do it. So watch this space. Just like everybody else, John has written the script, but many of the other young people in CTC have written scripts, and as Tristan mentioned earlier, they bring their texts in kind of weekly to work on, which is really fantastic and something that we look forward to seeing in future festivals. But for now, we are going to see an extract of The Curse of Captain Crow.
Welcome to the stage.
Bugger! Why are you all here?
To remove the curse.
And our old captain's turning in their grave.
Morgan, we know how to remove the curse.
You can't remove the curse. Look how it's affected me.
That was a Spanish cannibal curse. Kent, not a curse.
Well, how do we remove the curse? Everyone, take a seat. Tom, up.
You're in on this, Tom. You're unbelievable.
Sit down, Morgan.
There are rumours of a strange man, a shaman, lurking in the swamps of Spain.
Hold on. You want us to go to Spain?
Can't be that hard, can it?
Well, if you haven't noticed, they're trying to outlaw way of life.
You must be out of your mind, all of you.
Listen! Over 6 years ago, 14 of us struck back against Charlton Crow. Now, only 6 of us remain. All 6 of us are in this very room.
Ever since that day, we've suffered. Morgan spent 2 years in prison, Kent was forced into building the governor's house at Port Royal, but here isn't too deep with one-eyed rye. Tom is running this tavern, and Sydney here. What about you, Cordelia?
Yeah. What about you? Cordelia.
Don't tell me you're the only one who benefit from all this. Cordelia.
Guys, we've more important things to deal with. So carry on, Cordelia.
Thank you, Tom. Now, if you must know what I've been doing these last few years, well, I've been the captain of a ship.
And we all broke the pirate codes, obey all laws. That shouldn't have happened.
Since when did we need laws?
Since people like us come along and kill our captain.
Cordelia, me, and Tom here, who will be navigating, will be setting sail tomorrow at midday. If you want to help find the shaman and remove the curse, then be at the docks.
Thank you, Bud. Now, Morgan, technically I've hired you for a job. Which means you haven't got a say in the matter anymore. You're coming with me.
What? You're my client?
Yes, I am. Come with us now.
Well played, Cordelia.
Christ almighty! What did we do to end up in this situation?
Do you really want to answer that? It's closing time.
Closing time? It's 9 p.m.
It's getting late for me. I need to rest my old aching bones.
Old aching bones? You're 39 years old, Tom. This pint is older than you are.
Maybe. Look at the little scraggly bit of hair under his chin.
You're coming whether you like it or not.
And why do you think that?
Because I put sleeping pills in both your runs. that was you.
Same old Tom! Always keeping it in their boundaries. Always doing what they're told.
I feel like in my head hoping for a pint you can get out.
Amazing. I'll just say that the reason the company are performing with scripts there, well done to everyone who remembered work they developed many weeks ago and we're off book tonight, but the reason that company were working with scripts is that John has continued to develop and write the play into a full-length piece through one-to-one mentorship sessions with Abby, who's a professional playwright, which has been amazing, and we're so excited to present this full-length play early next year. So yes, watch this space and bring a grog. Come and enjoy it.
Yeah!
Sure. Worth a clap. Fantastic. Okay, it's time to talk about the festival event, right?
Yeah.
About an hour in, I think it's about time to talk about the festival event. So on the 5th of June, Ben and Dan, who are up there, and I, and various other people who are part of our technical team, got to that car park at 7 a.m. And we worked extremely hard to transform it into an exciting space. We had a smaller comedy cabaret stage. We had the main stage with lyric walls beside it and with bits of poetry written everywhere. We had 4 different workshop spaces that we used throughout the day for illustration, drama, music workshops, poetry. We also had space for bands to perform and for professional theatre makers to showcase their work alongside the work developed by our young people. So in the afternoon, we focused the event mostly at kind of Key Stage 1. We kicked off at 2 o'clock, Key Stage 1 and 2, primary age children. So the workshops and then the shows were kind of geared towards that age group. We had the brilliant Emma Bohr and her puppet peddler show. We had the fantastic musician David Gibb, who was playing with his trio for the first time in months and months and months. I was really excited to have him in there. My kids really enjoyed that as well. And then we had the brilliant Under the Bed Theatre, who Beth and Josh had collaborated on parts of the project in their own right, but would then showcase their show, Where Do the Lost Socks Go? It was a really sweet interactive musical for kids. And we're now going to introduce another guest onto this stage, who's Nikki Stevenson, who's been involved with CTC for many years, has been a trustee, and is soon taking on a role with us. We're really excited to say, and will be as part of our team with Stacey and I. And she's going to talk a bit about engaging with the festival as a punter. So please welcome Nikki to the stage.
Hello. I'm really glad you moved, Abby, because I was really dreading Tristan trying to give me his microphone. So I came to the festival, I actually was sort of buried my head in the sand, missed all of the stuff they've talked about, so that was really interesting to hear. But I came to the festival with my 2 very young children, so one of them is 3.5 and one of them would have been about 10 months old. And although my son had been to the theatre before, he had no memory. He had really no memory pre-pandemic at all, and so I'm counting it as his first theatre experience. We watched The Puppet Peddler, and coming to a car park to watch theatre, to him is not alien, because that is now what he thinks a theatre is, and he is very confused when I talk about going to a real theatre. But it was a safe place. He had no nerves about going into that space, and he often does. He's often quite nervous about going into new environments now. But going to a car park didn't feel scary. He was actually in one of these pictures that's revolving around with this smile on his face from ear to ear. He talks about the puppet peddler and the lost socks. Every time I can't get him together a pair of matching socks, it comes up. These memories are etched into his mind, and that happened in a space that you would never expect. That space was filled, every corner of it was filled with happenings and creative happenings, things going on. And it was, for a lot of young people, I think there were lots of children of a similar age there, and that was a really safe place for them to come and have those gentle interactions with theatre and be able to leave without feeling like they were standing up in the middle of a dark theatre to take themselves off to the toilet or whatever. It really offered something very safe, I think, for children to come and engage with. Yeah, it was a really exciting place to be, so well done to everyone who's involved. Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you, Nikki.
Yeah, so that was the afternoon part with all of that, but then we moved into the evening part of the festival, and festival goers were treated to performances from an improvisation group, professional improvisation group called the Oxford Imps, some live music, film screenings with a Q&A with the young people, stand-up and poetry on that stage, some of which you just saw, and it culminated in live pieces from the young people that we'd been working with all week. And Kira is somebody who, where are you there? Kira is somebody who performed that night and who tried many different things over the week, and now I believe has a new piece to share. Yeah. Is that true? Do you want to just come here, Kira, and tell us a little bit about where that new piece has come from?
Yeah, sure, why not?
So
it's bright.
It's bright.
You mentioned it.
The new piece, weirdly, was written very late at night when I couldn't sleep because there was a giant spider in my room.
Nice.
I'm like, why not? I think it was inspired by something I heard just on the internet. I don't know, something about like an accident. You'll hear that like in the piece. And last Monday, we were doing pieces where it's very up for interpretation, like basically the young people like took that and made it into scenes how they visioned it. I thought, oh, that my thing that I wrote, that might work. So, and Tristan said that we can send stuff in if we have any new pieces or stuff that's kind of like that. And I took the chance, so yeah,
well done.
That's basically
it. And everything you've just said is a classic example of what was happening over that second week of the festival. It might have been the Tuesday morning, you come in and you say, John, I've got this thing and let's do this, and it comes from here, and there was a spider in my bedroom and it's about that, and someone has an accident. And it's very, very classic of the way they were all working in that second week. So I can't wait to see it. May we?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll move out of the way.
Yes, we're also going to welcome Ali to the stage. So let's give them both a round of applause to share this brand new work.
Thank you for your time. For time? Time isn't real. I'm dreaming. You're floating. Who even are you? We've met before. I know you. I don't know you. You know me. No, I don't. Do you remember? You've been accused guilty. By who? By you. Me, myself, and I. What do you mean? Patients commonly feel that. What? You're not the only one who pleads guilty. If you want to say that, yes. What does it mean? Do you remember? The accident. The You're gone. I'm what? Over the bend. Who? You? Me? Who? How? You're not alive. You know that, right? You're not alive. You know that, right? How? You're not alive. Who are you? Alive. Who are you? Someone you're not. Who did it? I'm exactly someone you are. But why? Because you said so. Why? Because you told me. I didn't say anything. Do you remember? No. Thank you for your time.
What? Wait. What?
Lovely. So that was Kira and Ali. And Ali, I know, is developing an exciting new piece about vampires, so we might see that at some point as well. Thank you, Ali. Oh, my goodness. I'm going to do something very unprofessional now, which is to ask what the time is, because I didn't wear a watch. Oh, gosh. Could anyone tell me? 5 past. We're doing well. We're absolutely on schedule. How fantastic. At this stage, we're going to talk about, summarise some of our findings. So we're going to invite some young people on the stage to talk with us about this project. So please come and join us in a semicircle. We're going to get rid of these mics, so we'll project right up to the back.
I've just broken it.
Hello!
Yeah! Projection!
This is projection!
Wait, should we be behind you? Step.
Come a bit forward. Brilliant stuff. So this is some of our motley crew. As Diana said at the start, there are actually 450 people involved in this, in schools with these different community partners, and of course at the festival itself. This is just a tiny slice of them. They're all rather wonderful, brilliant people. So we're going to talk about those aims we set out at the start of the project, if you remember that, a few minutes ago. And we're going to talk about our evaluation process. So we did a baseline in the first week where we brought people together and we talked about set goals and talked about what we might like to achieve. And we let them know, obviously, what we were aiming to do for this festival. We asked them to complete surveys, and throughout we did a lot of feeding back and checking in with people on their progress and checking against those targets. We did a midpoint and then we did an evaluation right at the end. And we're going to share a few statistics, but more importantly, we're going to hear in their own words how they've developed throughout this project, and perhaps some of our words as well. So the first aim we were looking at was increased confidence and an increased sense of well-being for everyone that took part in the project. 70% of people that took part in our youth theatre and core groups said that they reported consistent improved well-being throughout the project. 30% reported a small drop at the end of the project, but a kind of consistent improvement across all indicators throughout. We think this might be because we did the last evaluation sessions 2 days after the festival event. We'd all come down a bit and we were a bit exhausted. But we were really delighted to see that there was a real consistent building in kind of well-being through taking part in these activities. 90% of participants either retained or improved their level of confidence. Again, when we did our baseline survey, we were thrilled that the vast majority of people actually said they already felt pretty confident about their role within CTC and the work they were going to create, and people either retained or built on that. Yes?
Yeah, so an example of that, Toby was decided not to do any stand-up on the stand-up stage, but we realised the stand-up stage needed an MC. And so about an hour before we needed an MC, we asked Toby if he'd do it, and you became an MC, didn't you?
Yeah.
How was that?
It was very strange. I think my confidence in that was, I don't think there's many groups or really events that I would so quickly go from not really having any part of in that particular section to just being in between every little bit, saying something. Majority of it improvised. A lot of it was just, most of it, I knew who was next, so I could just introduce who was coming up next. But other than that, I was pretty much just on stage saying things, hopefully link things together in a meaningful way. Which I think I was relatively confident about. I think most groups of people and groups events, I wouldn't necessarily be able to just go from not doing anything to something that quickly. But I think there's something about CTC that just feels really organic and like easy to move into a role of doing something very quickly, which I think is largely based on confidence.
Yeah, you did it really well, and it was really funny.
Really
well
funny.
done. And Callum, you had a similar thing, didn't you? So Callum was unable to join us for the whole week, but then came on the Saturday, and we all also realised we would quite like a host for the event. So on he jumped and did a
filled in the
sympathy.
position.
Yeah, and how was that?
Yeah, I felt it pretty good because I still got to be involved though and learn what was going to happen and introduce these wonderful acts performed by these wonderful people.
Yeah, and with both of you actually, what I noticed was, we said, would you mind doing this? It's always an option, and if you hadn't wanted to do it, we wouldn't have asked you, but the response was, yeah. Okay, now, would you mind doing this huge task? Yeah?
Yeah, we just had to keep ourselves busy and occupied.
Exactly, keep ourselves busy. Really nice, and you had a lovely collaboration in that first week as well, that behind the scenes pitch that we just saw with John and Toby and Panda was devised by you two in the first week? Online improvised?
Devised is a strong
Created.
term.
Created.
I can help you actually. We did a brilliant exercise with a filmmaker where we created a storyboard that went all the way across the green space of the college. And these guys came and presented it like a film pitch. They sat on their chairs, they put their feet on the table, and they were laid back like Hollywood executives. And they had us in absolute stitches just presenting this film pitch to us, which then became an improvised scene in the piece itself.
Exactly.
And then became part of the film, the inspiration of the film. Yeah, really well done. It was a real show of confidence what you did. Well done.
Did anyone else want to say anything about either feeling better as in taking part in the project or anything else? Ella?
Just a general word about confidence and kind of the role it plays in CTC. Not to divulge too much information about myself, nor to speak for anyone else, but I'm somebody who generally can deal with a lot of anxiety in my outside of CTC day-to-day life, and I know the same is true. I know that resonates for a lot of other people, young people in the company. Coming to CTC on like a weekly basis, it feels like this kind of safe place where I can find camaraderie with the other people who act here. And even though all of us are incredibly different, there's something really difficult to articulate about it that makes it all, it kind of just brings out confidence in people that may not otherwise be able to demonstrate that all the time, and it's wonderful.
Yeah, very well articulated, and I think you bring it out of each other.
Yeah.
What I've always thought about CTC, and I feel like I can speak with absolute pride of CTC because it existed before I had anything to do with it, but this aspect of it is just something that has continued for its nearly 20-year history, is that there is such an inclusive, respectful environment always, and whenever new people join it, the behaviour is modelled by people who've been there for years, where everybody is heard and everyone's listened and everyone's supported to, and that really comes from all of you, more than anything. Thank you, Ella. Wonderful. Let's talk about our next aim, which was team working skills, something we all wanted a lot more of after a lot of isolation time on Zoom. Again, our baseline survey here was really high. We asked young people, do you feel you work well as part of the team? And the vast majority said they did, and of course they did, because we'd seen that they'd been doing it online, they'd been doing it face-to-face with CCPs. As we went through though, 90% of participants said that they retained or improved their confidence, and 70% said that they had improved their team working skills. So was there an example we wanted to give?
So we briefly touched on it earlier, but collaboration was such a huge part of both of the festival weeks and all of the surrounding projects. And I think that really came into its own, and I think that's kind of next level teamwork, being able to collaborate and compromise. You used that word earlier, Jess, which is fantastic, and really kind of share ideas, but also be generous in the space, which is it's hard to do as adults. So as young people, I think you all did fantastically well, and there were lots of kind of mini collaborations within the group. And I'm going to pick on you again, Jess, because I know that you collaborated quite a lot with a lot of the different people in the room over the 2 weeks. So can you tell us a bit about that?
Yes, the collaboration process in general is just really enjoyable, because I wrote a play with Mika, and that was based entirely just off of something that she said, and she's like, I don't have any ideas. I'm like, I could help. So yeah, so that was that, and then we developed that in the second week, and that was very good. And I think in general, just like all the people that I work with, just incredibly talented and very nice. And yeah, teamwork is definitely one of the best parts about CTC, because I've said it once and I will say it many times again, but it is by by far the most inclusive company, I'm pretty sure. So, yes, very enjoyable experience.
Great. Did anyone else want to feed in on something relating to teamwork? Ali?
Well, I've never done like playwriting like in my life, and I never really thought I could have like the confidence to do it, but then I was like, oh my god, I could do it. And like, it was in Myth when me and Clarice we joined forces to create our good old vampire play. And we have there's a name we have settled on now, it's called the Fruitbat Chronicles. That's such a good name.
And so that's during a 3-week rehearsal process and a tour of a show in the summer. They're writing a play. That's, I don't know how they did it. But amazing. Did you want to come in there as well, Clarice? So.
I think it's interesting to because I've never written I've written one script of a scene that was I didn't plan it at all, and so to write something with Ali, it's interesting to see what kind of things work and to work together and give feedback on each other's stuff, and also just how the idea came about, because I think that day is we were just kind of all telling each other different ideas for plays, and now all of a sudden we had 5 different plays everyone wanted to write. So yeah.
Outstanding. They're following you through. Brilliant. Okay, so another key aim was about having a strong voice in your community. Now, when I explained that a little bit when I was setting out the aims at the start, but for us that's about providing a platform for young people in Banbury to really express themselves. Do you want to come sit down?
Sorry, I was trying not to be distracted.
And so you are distracted now. This is another thing where at the baseline survey, 100% of young people that we surveyed said that they either agreed or strongly agreed that they had a strong voice, and I think that's down to how they feel at CTC. Were we able to develop this project further, which we intend to, and take it into those public areas of Banbury and bring it to more new people to our work, I think we can really put that aim to the test and see what comes with that bigger platform. But I think it's amazing that you all feel, that you've got a strong voice within CTC. Would anyone like to comment on that particularly? You? Go on, you can. I don't mind.
Okay. Well, I think part of it is just because it has been said many, many times, and I'm going to say it again. But all the people are so welcoming, and you can it's any idea you have, you just throw it out there, and everyone's just yes, we're going to do this now. And sometimes it doesn't quite work, and we will figure out another way to do it, or sometimes it ends up with great things happening. And it's just we all come together so well and work together so well that it's hard to feel like you don't have a strong voice, because anything you say is taken into account, and there's not anyone who's seen as more important or less important than anyone else. We're all just on the same level, all just working together to try and make something.
Yeah, well said. Anybody else? Yeah, Brian, and then we'll go to you, Adam.
I think in other youth projects or school projects, the leading person almost has to sort of pick on people to make them put forth their ideas about a specific part of the project, whereas within CTC, whenever someone asks a question, it's we've got 50 different answers to and part of that's just because we feel so welcome and included in it. We can just freely, we feel we have the freedom to just share ideas to everyone, and no one's going to judge us or think any different of us because of that.
Thanks, Ryan. Well said. Ella?
And just what Clarice said, obviously, there's this intense, I think, sort of mutual respect, I think, between everybody, all of the young people at CTC, and I think we all listen to each other's voice within the company. And then how that then connects to, I think, the wider community is that we then take that respect outwards, because it's rare that you'll see a CTC project that's completely isolated from
current world issues and kind of things going on politically and socially in town and around the world. So there's great examples would be the end of Myth 2, which had that, you know, section about what makes a real hero, and spoiler alerts, it's things like planting trees and creating vaccines and, you know, small actions that, you know, kind of help us all in difficult times. And there's a project I'm not involved in, but seems like incredible about the bears in the woods and the recycling. It seems incredible. So I think that basically CTC has this core of, I think, respect and like respecting each other's voices that then extends to respecting the voices of, like, you know, people and trying to like uplift issues that may not otherwise be talked about so much.
Thank you, Ella. That show's called Pete Stays Home. It's on tour. It comes here on the 25th of October. Come see it, tell your friends. It's a fantastic show. Thank you. That's so lovely. Did anyone else want to come in on that particular point? Fab. So, increased arts and literary knowledge we were evaluating against. Of course, this also took place in our schools and our community settings workshops too. We asked these young people at the start, at the middle, and at the end of the project if they felt like they'd increased their experience in a wide range of artistic disciplines. Once again, and we're learning a lot about the process of evaluation through doing this project actually, a very high proportion of them felt that they already did, because we took this survey at the start of the face-to-face week, and a lot of them had engaged online. And actually only 40% reported that they had done so during the project. Now I can tell you 100% of people tried something new. And what we think that maybe says is that the environment was so enabling that they felt so confident with trying new things that it didn't always feel new. So I'd like to hear a little bit about new things that you tried in this project and what you learned, if anyone would like to feedback on that. Toby?
Okay. I guess we just do a lot of things with CTC. I've been here for like a lot of years, I'm not sure how many. But I don't think I've done 2 shoots, or really only 2 days. There's not really 2 rehearsal days where everything's been like similar in the same routine. They're always doing different things. There's like a ridiculous range of stuff, from like animation and filming, and then just performing improvisation, poetry, ridiculous amounts of things that I think almost everything I've done is completely new to me. And I think that's just incredibly valuable. I don't know what to say on it really, just...
What's been your favourite, Toby?
That's a hard one. I think improvisation. I really love improvisation.
Yeah,
that's probably.
And it'd be a great comedy night compare.
Yeah.
That, for sure.
We know that. Were you going to say something, Lila?
Yeah, just about generally after you try something, everyone's so supportive of you, it just makes you feel elevated and like you can do it. And so after you've done it, it doesn't feel nerve-wracking or like you've just tried something completely different. It feels like you've been doing it because everyone around you is so supportive.
Amazing. Has anybody kind of like had their eyes open to something new that they want to pursue further, whether that's a hobby or maybe even a career? Callum?
Writing, because I want to start bringing out ideas though, and then people perform them out.
Brilliant. So glad to hear that. Clarice?
I'd say more to like continue writing, but also now start like performing poetry, and like I really like doing more like movement pieces to it to just show the story.
Yeah, you should definitely do that. John?
So yeah, obviously I'm writing a lot right now, but I've always wanted to go into acting, and recently I was going to go into film acting originally, that was my mindset, but now it's sort of, it's drifted a lot more to theatre, because I enjoy theatre a lot more than I do my own media course, and so that tells me I should probably do theatre and not film. So I can't do both. It's like, no, film acting's a very narrow opportunity as well.
It's the same thing, it's just in front of a camera.
I'm not sure how
It won't work. I'm too socially awkward to be in front of a camera, but I'm able to be in front of the people.
Yeah. More the merrier.
Like I can't act to a watermelon, but I can act to a person.
Portfolio careers though, so many artists we've brought in do so many different things, and I think that's been inspiring to me, and it's good to hear that you guys feel that's inspiring to you, and that's something you feel like you can pursue as well. Fingers in many pies, creative pies. Amazing. Okay, so there's an aim that we didn't achieve, and we did want to bring young people into new areas of their town to really claim them and take ownership of them. I mean, we did that with a car park, but we weren't able to go much beyond that. So I suppose I open it up. What was interesting and different to you, about making a performance in a supermarket car park? Yeah.
I comment as an audience member of said car park performance. I remember going in there, and the thing that I liked the most about the Toy Story Festival in June was that walking into this car park, it was a lot of, you saw the picture, it was a lot of grey, a lot of cement, it was a lot of just wide open space, which is good, of course, for COVID.
Ventilation.
Yeah, ventilation and whatnot. I think what I found most impressive about what my colleagues here were able to do, yeah, colleagues, was that they brought the place to life with, I think, both literal colours and posters and props and things, as well as just the energy that they had performing on stage and doing everything that they did. Same goes for the external guests, and how like this kind of desolate, like, Lidl's car park was brought to life by theatre was something that really struck me and was really impressive.
Amazing. Do you think there's like a post-apocalyptic play to making that car park?
Oh yeah, like we've already done a bunker, but a car park.
Yeah. Brilliant. That's great. Any other reflections of people who took part in the event? Also, Kira.
Surprisingly, I've never performed in a little car park before.
Get out of town.
Despite the eeriness when looking down just this giant grey car park that's completely empty, I think the vibes that everybody here and people who decorated it and just everything like gave it such a nice vibe where it just felt like you could perform there and not feel like, oh, I'm in a car park and I'm going to perform to people. So yeah.
Real.
Lovely to hear. Okay, so at this point we're going to almost close our Q&A to an end because we're very nearing the end of the evening, but we've probably got time for 2 questions if we're quick from our audience. This could be about what we've just been talking about, but it could be about the project as a whole. So did anyone have a question they wanted to ask our young people? Tony?
Well, I've got 3 really.
Lock the doors!
Firstly, do you have the funding for 2022 and what you're going to do in 2022? That's question number 1. Sure. Question number 2 is, I mean, everything that you've seen this evening has been truly impressive. I'm really glad I came because otherwise I would not have known about a lot of this. So how do you use social media to tell other people in Banbury what you've been doing? So sharing some of the film and some of the poetry and some of the activities so other people know what's going on. And third, it's not really a question. I'm going to go home and I'm going to really worry about group chat. Historians like Samuel Pepys, they kept diaries. So, historians could look at people's letters they wrote to each other and they do a lot of history on that. And I've just been thinking, in the future, how are historians going to analyse group chat and WhatsApp groups and knowing how people exchanged ideas? Where are we going to find those WhatsApp things when the mobiles died? And I think that's I haven't really put my mind to that. If you had to fund 2022, what are you going to do?
Chilling thoughts. Well, who'd have thought? Thank goodness they didn't have WhatsApp in your days as a parliamentarian. Yes, so 2022, we have many projects that are happening in 2022. We've decided to make this festival a biannual event, actually, so it will be back in 2023. Who knows where it will be? But there are a number of super exciting brand new things we're doing in summer 2022 already, and there's room for more things. Because the great thing about CTC is the programme expands with the ideas of the young people. Did I know 3 months ago that we'd be doing a pirate play potentially in a boatyard in February? I didn't, and now we are. So there's definitely room for things to happen, but we all agree, having reflected on it, and we'll talk about some of our learning in a moment, that actually we need a longer run up into this festival, and we want the flexibility in our programme to not feel like we've got to keep delivering it every year, but to keep rediscovering it. And the beauty of this festival, more than any project I've learned at CTC, and I learned a lot doing this as well, is that it's so open. It could incorporate any art form, any group, any participant's ideas. So I'll answer that. The social media question, did anyone want to come in on that? Yeah.
Well, when you said stuff about how going to see WhatsApp chats in the future, I think they're going to probably say, this is how embarrassing the human race was back in the day. It's true, literally, they're going to see old messages. Did we really used to speak like that? And, oh God, why did I say that? Yeah, we're literally just going to say, our time was embarrassing.
I mean to like maybe bring a positive twist to that as well. Like it would be less so the recorded words of like the very like richest people and the very like most like noteworthy people, just because of how like, you know, like noteworthy, I'm not going to say that twice, like public their stuff like was, their work, their art, and it would just be more the kind of words of everyday people, which I think would be quite interesting. But to actually answer the social media question, Churwell Theatre Company does have an Instagram account. I'm not involved in the running of it, but it is very cool. I am involved with it. There's Facebook too, apparently. I don't know Facebook. Yeah, I guess we often just kind of share little images like promoting things, upcoming projects, and then we also, of course, still use leaflets and word of mouth to kind of bring people into our spaces as well. So yes.
And
For
this
sure.
Event will be on YouTube, will it not?
It will. So people are watching it live, but you can also watch it for about a week after this event. And I just want to give massive props to Stacey, who runs all of our social media, does an amazing job. So to make it all happen, thanks, Stacey. Not all she does by a long, long way. But yes, I would also say that our social media presence has really grown throughout this time between April and now, where we've done a lot of different projects, including this festival, but it can always get bigger, and we love the people who keep sharing our stuff and retweeting it or showing it on Facebook or Instagram, so please keep doing that. We want to reach as many people as we can. Okay, I think we can, as we gave Tony three, maybe have half a question. Does anyone else have half a question? Yes, Alicia.
I have more of just a thing to say rather than a question, but I was in the first Myth in 2019 and I recognise a lot of you from that. Sadly, I wasn't a part of Myth 2, but I've seen a lot of growth for all of you, and a lot of you are very different to the last time I saw you. I'm just very proud of the group of people that you've got.
We miss you.
Yeah.
Please come back.
Point then, we'll say thank you to our young people. Take a seat and we'll wrap things up.
Wonderful. So there was one more aim that we just wanted to share a short video about, and this was about increasing awareness of the value of the arts to educational and community partners. We feel like we've very strongly met this aim, central to our mission, actually. The majority of partnerships we build, and we love working in partnership, but the majority of partnerships we build are with non-arts organisations, and it's great to learn from them and to share our learning with them too. Every single partner on this project is committed to doing more work with us, and actually, over the next few months, we're going to have to be selective and figure out all the projects we do, because there's so much potential we're seeing for further partnerships across Banbury and into Bicester and the rest of Churwell. We're going to show a short video from Emily Casewell, teacher at Hillview, who is just a fantastic teacher. We're currently delivering some CPD training with their teachers about how to build drama approaches into their work, and the school have been so receptive and open to trying things, and we're learning a lot from doing it as well. But Emily will tell you a little bit more about her experience about being a schools partner on this project. Here she is.
Hi, my name's Emily Casewell and I work at Hillview Primary School in Banbury. The last year or so has been a really tricky year for all school children. We were really lucky for all our Year 5s to be able to take part during this time in Sherwell Theatre Company's Tell Your Story Festival. We use this project to excite and develop our children's creativity, as well as supporting their writing development. The project was rolled out over a series of days. The outcome for us was for our children to be able to write their own plague play scripts. Our children had an initial drama workshop, which was where they were introduced to the topic. In our case, this was the plague. The focus was on exciting and engaging our children within the topic, in essence, really hooking them in, and the drama workshops that were run did this marvellously. The next stage involved our children voting for the artist they would like their final workshop with. These were pre-recorded. The children watched a range of fabulous artists presenting themselves, from shadow puppet artists to dance artists, and then each class had the opportunity to vote for the artist they would like their final day's workshop with. This really gave our children ownership over the outcome that was going to be produced. A 2-week block in school involved children writing their plays with their teachers. Teachers were so impressed by how eager our children were to write and to really crack on with this. Children who sometimes struggled with writing were engaged and wanted to write. The final stage of the project was where the artist the class had voted with came in for their day's workshop and turned their plays into something real. Our Year 5s loved these sessions. They'd written for a real purpose, and then they created something wonderful. So all in all, it was a great success, and we learnt a lot from it. We'd really like to thank everybody involved with the project. Thank you.
We've got some absolutely fantastic schools in this area, which lots of you will know. But Emily has been really, really a great partner on this and several projects. Has really helped us to develop our ideas with schools to make sure there is as much benefit as possible to the children taking part. So a huge thank you to her for making that video. So we're now just going to finally talk about some of the learning points. If anybody is interested, I mean, you've all been here for an hour and a half, so you've probably had enough of this project. But there is an evaluation report which we can circulate, which has many more quotes from people involved and also details a lot of learning points. We're just going to summarise a few of them for you now, because with any project, regardless of how successful it is, you can always do better. So I think a key point was access for the schools and the community groups we worked with. Our core groups that met online and then at Banbury College came through to the festival event and had ownership and performed live. Though we were able to develop work like at the Hill Centre and their poem or the Let's Play project film, which was showcased at the festival, we were less successful in bringing those groups to the event itself. We tried this for a combination of reasons, I think. Sometimes it's cultural barriers. Sometimes it's about taking work to people in their spaces in which they feel really comfortable and then trying to bring them somewhere else with a lot of other people that they didn't feel quite ready to make that step on a first project. Another thing is obviously COVID and the uncertainty and the risk assessments involved for schools and community groups in bringing people down, although we're obviously able to provide travel costs and things like that. So I think that's something that we're going to reflect on for our 2023 festival and think, how can we make this process more accessible for those groups to participate in from beginning to end?
Another thing to consider for the 2023 festival would be time management. So whilst it was amazing that we had access to so many different guest artists over both of the festival weeks, it did mean that it reduced the amount of time that the participants had to rehearse and kind of perfect their own pieces. So in reflection and thinking about next year's festival, we might want to have all of the guest artists arriving in the first week and then allow more time in the second week to rehearse the performances. Just something to think about.
Yeah, and finally, the ticketing factor. So this festival was always going to be free, but because of COVID restrictions, it had to be ticketed. The tickets were free, but they had to be booked. So we sold out our allocation of tickets, but then some people didn't turn up who'd bought tickets and therefore deprived other people of a slot. Normally it would just have a walk-up factor, just so you could stumble across it, because often the work is in the market square or on a street or in a park, and people can just come and go as they please, don't need to book a ticket. So it didn't have that factor. Fortunately, and hopefully, if all these restrictions stay and there are no limits on gatherings, future projects will continue to be in places that are more accessible and won't have to be ticketed, and they can stumble across. We saw that recently with Myth 2 that we've talked a lot about. That was in a park and in market squares, and you could just turn up. And our final thing that we're going to show tonight is a little video of that, aren't we? And it had a really, really great sort of stumble across factor.
So 30 joyful seconds from what we did next, which was Myth 2.
Heroes and half wits, the differences between them. The mighty and the flighty, we all of us have seen them. Those who reach for the sky, those who fall on their face. There's a fine, fine line between ignominy and praise. There's a fine, fine line between ambition and greed. There's a fine, fine line between a want and a need. There's a fine, fine line between infamy and fame. But no matter the difference, they'll remember your name.
And here's to many more outdoor shows you can stumble across very soon. We'd just like to say a final thank you to all the people that made this project possible. They are coming up on the screen. A thank you to you for coming and you for watching at home. Give yourselves a clap. And really, this project had some significant investment from local and national partners. So thank you to the Ragdoll Foundation, Oxfordshire Community Foundation, Cherwell District Council, Hobson Charity, Castle Key Shopping Centre and Wild Property. There are many, many other people who helped us. I want to also thank the community action groups in Banbury, XR Banbury, many, many, many people. I'm so sorry if I've forgotten anyone, but this is a truly community-led endeavour, and I'd also like to, I suppose, thank my co-host for the evening and every artist who worked on the project, and all of the young people. Do you have anything else to say, you two?
Thank you, Tristan.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Thank you. Good night. Thank you very much. Good night, everyone at home. You're very welcome to come chat to us in the bar if you like. We're sticking around for a little while. Thank you.